That. Now we have Brice coming up to the stage to talk about creativity. By the way, this is new ground for me. We have another mom in the audience. Oh my God, we have two more moms at least in the audience. Heather traveled here all the way from Lakewood to see Brice on stage tonight. Heather, way to go. My 14-year-old didn't come to watch me, so anyway, so you're my moms now. Okay. Anyway, so Brice's mom is here. Yay, Mom. He is extremely snobby about parallel parking, which I totally get. I am, of course, parked right out front with no one right in front of me. It's the little blue Honda Fit with a big dent in the side. And he is hilariously bad at small talk, so please don't try to chat with Brice after the show. You can talk to his mom, though. I'm assuming she's good at it. Big hand of applause for Brice.
All of these people here are members of the infamous 27 Club. Musicians, artists, and actors noted for dying tragically, often of suicides and overdoses, dying young and more specifically at the age of 27. Studies have shown there is no true statistical anomaly to celebrities dying at 27. What I can tell you I believe to be true of all of these figures is that they died too young. Why do creatives lean so much into the identity of the tortured artist? And what would happen if we reframed creativity not as a cross too heavy to bear, but instead as a good friend, by our side until the last natural days of our lives? For most of my life, I've struggled in some regard with ADD. Over the last few years, I leaned hard into pushing back against my lack of focus. I created systems for most things in my life and became hyperfixated on, in the words of Radiohead, having everything in its right place. A trend in folks with ADD is to push into corrective behaviors to the point of crippling anxiety and oftentimes bordering into the realm of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Poetry has always been a refuge. I've been inspired by the poetry community to never shy away from my truth, to see the opportunity to be authentic as a queering, and queerness as an antidote to shame. In my poetry, I could be as tangential and random as I wanted. I could talk about death, tigers, and Tokyo Joes all in the same poem and know that I would be received by my found poetry family. And it was wonderful. And then I began to heal. As I turned the page into my 30s, I found myself healing not through my poetry, but through conversation-based therapy, through healthier eating and sleep patterns, through meditative practices and healthier friendships. Everything was great, except for my poetry. I was suffering less, and I certainly wasn't tortured, but my artist had gone away. In my 20s, when I sat down to write, it would come pouring out of me like a train, desperate to leave a dark tunnel. In my 30s, that urgency had gone away. I found myself less a speed train and more of a mule, intentionally slow and steady, carrying these ideas to the top of the mountain. I was happy, for better or worse. I was tempted to lean back into my bad habits, but I didn't want to. At one point, I told myself, if being healthy means not being a poet, then I'm not going to be a poet. I didn't want to play with the edge anymore, but I began to realize there are so many different edges. I was deeply inspired by the incredible performance artist Marina Abramovich. Marina had lived her entire life sober, but she produced incredible world-shattering art. What inspired her? I realized when Marina is suspended for what must feel like forever, in the air, vulnerable, on display in her humanity for everyone to see, why would she need to destroy herself? On the other side of the spectrum from self-destruction is self-discovery. What if we reframe the tortured artist as the evolving artist? What if creativity is born not out of pain, but out of the incredibly brave and necessary act of pushing the boundaries of who we are by finding what we truly can be? In March of 2020, my partner Chelsea and Ocho and I began to accomplish something that I never knew I would accomplish. At the early onset of the pandemic, we began to go outside and in defiance, howl loudly into the night. At first, I was a bit embarrassed. Who was I to think anyone would ever be interested in howling back at me? but they did. What started as a random experiment of pushing my own boundaries became a nationwide movement of people stepping outside with friends, family, children, and pets to howl in the face of never-before-seen circumstances. Our Facebook group grew to 600,000 members. Reports came in of people howling in all 50 states, over 100 countries around the world. We were interviewed by CPR, the BBC, and in 2021, we were invited to howl on stage at Red Rocks Amphitheater to begin their concert season. It was an art born out of sobriety, in our own vulnerable need to connect. As for my poetry, it's never truly ever left me, and I have no desire to leave it. If ever I find I'm running low on creativity, I know that all I need to do is take myself on a date to the edge. Not to that edge that looks down into fire and brimstone, pain and suffering, but that edge that looks outward into endless canyons of blooming flowers and evolving life. That edge where I know if I give a good howl from deep in my gut, I will receive the echo of my own truth back to me. My hope is that someday no artist aims to be a member of the 27 Club, but maybe instead of the 87 Club, the 100 Club, the club of people who found their art in community and getting the help they need, and in doing what they never thought would be possible. Thank you.
Captain No Small Talk was howling from backstage back at you. Does it not feel like you've met one of the coolest people ever to find out that you met one of the original howlers?